our platform. We're teaching and training people. So when you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can learn more about how to do it. We teach people how to get their authority. We teach people how to move from a company driver to becoming an independent driver. I want to also challenge you to sign up to our Facebook page. Make sure you share with your friends, truck driver friends. Also follow us on Instagram. And also go to our website, www.topdollartrucking.com. And that way you can go and sign up for some training. Hey, I would love to help you guys with a number one source. I know there are a lot of people out here trying to teach and train people about trucking and different things, but they are not a truck driver. Hey, look, I'm a truck driver currently. I own my own business, and I will be able to teach you and show you step by step how to move from being a company driver, or even just say, hey, I want to own my own truck and I've been driving, or I don't even know where to start. Hey, we're your platform to go to. There are a lot of people that have called our company that, hey, they've trusted some of these other platforms, and they wasn't what they was looking for, wasn't what they needed. And I've even been told that some of them just, basically took their money. So, hey, look, we have not had one complaint about the services we offer here at Top Dollar Trucking. Well, look, hey, I don't want to make this YouTube video too long. So I want to challenge you to get a pen out. Maybe you want to take some of these notes. I want to tell you about 3 common mistakes that most people make while negotiating for a rate. These are the, I'm going to say 3 top mistakes that I feel like a lot of the people that are getting a load or trying to get a load when negotiating, they fail to get this information to help you become more effective in negotiating for a high rate. I want to talk about number 1. I may go a little bit fast, so you may have to kind of watch the video a couple of times maybe to get it all, because I don't want to make the video too long. Number 1, when negotiating, you want to make sure that you have this information. And this is where a lot of people, they mess up at. They don't get this information. Number 1, not having enough information on the load. Anytime you're negotiating for a higher rate on the load, you want to try to get as much information as possible. And this is one of the most common mistakes that I see a lot of drivers make when trying to negotiate. And a lot of them don't even know that they can negotiate. So when you're negotiating for a higher rate, this is one of the mistakes you don't want to make. Not having enough information. You need to know where's the load going, because if you don't know where the load is going, just say the load going into what we call is a dead area where it's hard to get a back haul. Hey, you're going to end up eating into the revenue that you took the load out there, to try to get some somewhere else. So you want to make sure that you get enough high enough rate going into a dead zone. So that's why it's very important to know where the load is going. So you may not want to, because it's hard to get a load out of that area. There's a lot of areas I don't go because it's too hard to get a load out of. So I find that's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of drivers make when negotiating. They don't ask enough information. Another one, is it going in, to a place where, like California, where on the West Coast, where the fuel is extremely high. So if it is, you need to know that so you can charge even more on that rate. Number 3, is it going into the mountainous area? So, if you're going to the mountains, you already know, climbing those mountains, you're going to burn more fuel. A lot of drivers make the mistake of not asking those questions. Number 4, is it going into bad weather? What's the weather like? What's the condition? Ice, snow, sleet, in the rainstorm. So, if a broker wants you to take it into those conditions, if you feel safe and comfortable doing it, you need to make sure that you negotiate for a higher rate. So not having enough information can cost you of not getting the most out of that load. Another one, weight. How heavy is the load? Especially if you got a heavy load and it's going into the mountains, or you're in snow, you're going to a bad area. You want to make sure that you charge more than enough. Because if it's heavy, it's gonna burn more fuel. It's gonna be a lot of wear and tear on your truck transmission. Could possibly bust rear seals. So constantly, I see over and over a lot of guys, they take these heavy loads, but they fail to understand that, hey, heavier loads puts more wear and tear on your truck. Tap your brakes, put more wear and tear on your tires. And so you want to make sure that you don't make this mistake when negotiating for a higher rate. Because if you don't know this here, this can limit your ability to get the maximum potential out of that load financially wise. So you want to make sure that you ask these questions. And I find that a lot of drivers, they make this mistake when negotiating because they don't ask this and they don't know it. And so let me go on because I don't want to take too much time on this one. I got two more I want to cover. How many stops does this load have? Is it a one stopper, two stopper, three stopper, four stop, five? I've had, loads where brokers have tried to get me to do 10 stops, 11 stops. So if it's that many stops, you got to make sure that you got to keep in mind, you're not going to get paid on that bill until you finish all those stops. And it may take you a couple of days or 3 days. Depends on how far it's got to go. So I stay away from that. I do one stop only. I've done a couple of two stoppers in the past, but I like doing one pick, one drop. Pick it up and go take it and drop it. So that way I'm free and clear, get my paperwork, file it, send it into my factory, get paid, whatever. So you gotta realize the more stops on that load, you need to be charging more for it. Another one, time of delivery. Is it a straight through? You got to drive all night for an early morning delivery. So, you know what I'm saying? And that's considered expedited. You got to know that you need to charge more for an expedited freight. I've done it before, picked it up late in the evening, had to drive all night and be there for 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, AM that is. So what I'm saying is that when you're dealing with a load like that, you need to make sure that you charge, high as possible. Don't cut no corners. Don't feel sorry for the brokers or nobody, because you're going to have to be at the wheel fighting, trying to, get that load there at that time of the night. So always make sure that you ask all of these questions. Hey, what is it? In negotiating, because a lot of drivers, they just grab a load, then find out later, send a Raycon. Like I had case in point, I had a broker called me on the load, said it was one pick, sent me the Raycon, and I seen 2 extra stops on. I heard him picked up the phone and said, hey man, I gave you a rate on a one pick, one drop. Oh, I forgot to tell you about it. And I said, well, you know what? You're going to give me X, Y, and Z extra money for those other 2 stops. Or you're going to take it back. He didn't want to give me the money. Talking, it ain't going to make much difference. I said, oh, yes, it is, because I gave you a rate on a one pick and a one drop. So it's one pick, one drop. And then you send me a Raycon with 3 stops on it. You mean to tell me you failed to mention 2 other drops? No, so you're going to give me some more money, which he didn't want to do. So he took the load back. Fine by me, because that's, that's falsifying information. And that's giving me false information, and I didn't give me an opportunity to give you a more accurate rate on it. So basically, you just try to sell me a load on some false pretense. So you got to watch out for that. And another thing you need to ask, is this a recovery load? What I mean by that, somebody done fell off the load, somebody booked it, then they fell off of it. Maybe they got, something happened, truck broke, or maybe they just got a high paying load and they fell off of it, whatever the case may be. Do I got a lot of these brokers call you? I need somebody in there ASAP. I've had a broker call me and tell me I need you to be in there like within 30 minutes. Look, man, so I can't even get to my truck within 30 minutes. I'm at my house or whatever. Maybe I'm at the truck stop. I can't get to it, and I'm not finna go speeding through traffic and have a wreck trying to pick up a load ASAP. Because you got to watch that. They'll say you that, and then when you get to the shipper, they close. You know what I'm saying? And so I tell them I just don't even fool them ASAP anymore, because I've heard that, you get there, that the customer closed. Now they want to fight you on, paying you your tow note. And so I just don't got time for that. I'm not in the business of recovering loads. Okay, let me go to number 2. One of the things that you guys got to understand as drivers, stop taking the first rate that these brokers offer you. I see, drivers make this mistake all the time. They take the first thing that the broker throw at them. Look, drivers, you got to understand, you can negotiate for a higher rate. Don't take the first thing that they offer. You have the ability to negotiate. And you got to understand that just because that broker saying this, well, that's all I got. No, there's always more money in that load than what that broker's telling you. You got to remember that. So one of the things you got to realize is that, that broker is trying to sell that load to as cheap as possible to, whoever he can without having to pay a maximum rate on it. And so what you got to understand is, drivers, look, that broker don't care about me or you. They got some decent brokers out there, not everybody. But for the most part, them brokers want to keep as much money in their pocket as possible. You got to realize some of these brokers, they don't work for a business, and You know, they only got a certain rate, but you got to keep in mind, you got some brokers out here that this is their business. So they're trying to make as much money, you know, whether they work for a company or not, they're trying to keep as much money in their pocket and pay me and you as least as possible. So you got to understand, it's time to negotiate now. When you call me for that low, okay, this is what I need. How many miles I got to go? I at least want anywhere from 350 to four to $5 a mile. Depends on where I gotta go, what I gotta go through the delivery, all that. I'm not running no low for $1 and something a mile. I'm not running a low for $2. You know, my starting range is at least about, you know, 3 above. And you got to understand that, you know, these brokers want us to not know that we can negotiate for a higher rate. And you got to realize, drivers, that load always have more money in it than what they're trying to say to us. And you got to remember that. And if you're not brave enough and bold enough to ask for more money, they're not just going to voluntarily offer it. They might offer a few extra dollars, but they're not going to offer any significant money to the degree what that load got in it. So you must remember that. Number 4, you also, I see a lot of drivers that are very fearful. I would say number 4, number 3. They're very fearful of, you know, letting that load go by. Look, let me tell you something, people. I'd rather let that load go by and wait for a decent paying load than just to grab at something because I'm desperate. Don't be afraid to let that load go by. Let that load go by. Don't be afraid to let that load go by, and because I guarantee you something's better going to come along. Just say, okay, you missed that day. You didn't get a load that day, but I guarantee the next day, you know, something's going to come on that's going to pay better than the one you missed. You can't be desperate in this business. You know, I've hit a lot of lows I let going past. A lot of lows. I mean, sometimes I've let just five or 6 lows a day sometimes, then didn't get none. I'm just keeping it 100. But then that next day, man, I got a load that was paying out the wazoo. You see what I'm saying? Now, if I'd have took that load that wasn't paying nothing, I would have missed that dynamic load with that great money on it. Now, sometimes I've let loads pass by and then get an evening call, bam. Broker desperate, needs somebody to cover the low, bam, got a hell of a rate on it. So you got to understand it can fluctuate. It goes, you know, either way. And you have to be willing to let some loads go by. Every load is not worth you hooking up to. And let me about this here. You know, one of the things you got to understand is that if you're one of the type of persons that you're afraid to let loads go by, you are going to always end up coming up short. Because I'm not desperate. I'm not going to grab every load that comes across my table. You got to realize that you have to negotiate for a higher rate. There's ability in the load to negotiate. There's room in there. And what you guys got to understand is that when you fail to negotiate for the maximum potential in that load carried, you miss out. You fail. And I guarantee you that broker is looking to book that load with the driver that don't know what he's worth, that don't know that he can negotiate for a higher rate. That broker is looking for the most ignorant driver he can find. You know, I hate to say it like that, but it's a fact. He's looking for the driver that don't know what he's worth. He's looking for a driver that don't know anything about the industry. He's looking for a green guy. He's looking for a guy, I don't care if he's been in the industry 10, 15 years, that does not make that driver know what he's talking about. Because let me tell you something, those brokers know there are a lot of people getting into the trucking industry, getting their own operating authority, driving for themselves, becoming independent, but 90% of them still don't know the power and ability to negotiate on a higher rate. They just grab the first thing that broker throw out there. Oh, that's all I got. Okay, all right, well, fine. Now, I done told you what I can do, and that's what I can do. And so at the end of the day, this is what happens. After it's all said and done, if you can't give me what I need, hey, let somebody else take it. You cannot imagine how many loads I've let pass by because I told them this is what I needed and they'll call me. They told me at first they couldn't get it, or if I could get it, they'll call me back. A lot of them said, well, I can't get it. Then a lot of them called me back. I had a lot of them say, well, let me work on it. A lot of them worked on it and they got it. Some of them didn't call back. But I've had more people that gave me the rate that I was looking for after they said, ooh, that's high. Man, that's high. Well, you get what you pay for. If you're a driver that don't know what he's worth, trust me, them brokers are going to take advantage of you. And you are exactly the kind of driver that those brokers are looking for. The driver that don't know what he's worth, male or female, it doesn't matter. Those brokers are looking for the drivers that don't know what they're worth. They're looking for the drivers that don't know they have the ability to negotiate. They're looking for the drivers that don't know that there's more money in them lows. They're looking for the driver that just ready to grab the first thing that they throw out there and don't care. That's why I say you got to understand something. You have to negotiate for a high rate. You got to. It's hands down. You have to be willing to negotiate for a high rate. Hey, look, this is going wrong with Top Dollar Trucking. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and also give me a thumbs up and follow me on Facebook. Make sure you share with your truck driver friends on Facebook, Instagram, all these good social media platforms. Go to our website, www.topdollartrucking.com. Sign up for one of my training sessions that will help you become better at negotiating, help sharpen your skills. Maybe you don't know how to negotiate at all. Trust me, I'm your man. Make sure to sign up for one of those classes, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Go back and view some of my YouTube videos and on Facebook and all those good social media platforms. I got a lot of great content out there, and there's no one doing what I'm doing. There's no one giving you the information and the content that I'm giving you, and there's no one that can do it better like me. I'll see you next time. Bomb. Top Dollar Trucking is your #1 source.